What's good, y'all? Project, man. Today, I've realized that it is the last, or I say it's the last. It is actually the day. The day of Wrestlemania. And all of the WrestleManiacs like myself and other fans around the world are ready. Now, I'm just going to give a quick little comment on the predictions that I made. Now, this video will not be changing my predictions, but it will be saying like, hey, if I could go back in time, I might actually change this now that I've had a little more time to think about it. But my predictions are final. I'm not going to change them. I feel like that's not fair. You know what I'm saying? But if I had to change my mind, I'm going to put down some things I would change my mind on. It doesn't confirm my mind's change, or it doesn't confirm the change of my predictions. It's all set in stone. But I'm just going to go over some things I might have, you know what I'm saying, blah, blah, blah. So, one thing I did actually forget to mention in my review, my preview in predictions, is that boy, John Cena, you can't see me, one of my GOATs, other than The Rock, you know, he's pretty much the GOAT for me, you know what I'm saying? And I was there, you know, as a little Cena kid, you know, a quick little backstory, you know, I was there as a little Cena kid, you know, when I got into wrestling, he was my first favorite wrestler. I would always play, like when I would play the WWE video games, I would usually either choose John Cena, Rey Mysterio, Chris Jericho. I think Chris Jericho, you know what was thing with him was? I think it was because of his athleticism, and I like the name. I like that Jericho at the end. I thought it gave him a lot of cool points and swagger, so I usually kind of choose those like 3 or 4 people in the video game, maybe like a John Morrison from time to time. I'd always choose those same like 4 people when I played the video game. But that was back in like 2011, 2012, 13, all that good stuff. But yeah, I'm no doubt one of the people that heavily supported John Cena. Even when I got older, I still didn't dislike him. Like, a lot of people was like, you know, he ain't all that, blah, 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 blah. He was making it unwatchable. Even when I got older and watched some of the stuff back and the stuff now, I still ended up being a massive John Cena fan, even after realizing why people, you know what I'm saying, childhood hero there. But anyway, he will be coming back to host WrestleMania. I don't mind that at all. Some people don't like Legends coming. I know they're probably doing this mainly for ticket sales, but I actually don't mind Legends coming back. I know that's kind of a ridiculous concept to people that there's like a host of WrestleMania, but it's kind of a cheap way to get people on the card. Like when Miz hosted at WrestleMania 39, like it's kind of a little cheap way to get somebody on the card. But who doesn't want to be at WrestleMania? So I can't really play a hate because, I mean, I would want to be at WrestleMania. And if I was a wrestler that didn't have a match on the card, but they said, hey, you know what? You don't got a match on the card, but we think you're big enough and reliable enough to host the show, I wouldn't be like, oh, hell no, what the F? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, John's going to be there, and I could see a interaction with Danhausen happening. As far as predictions are concerned, I could actually predict an interaction with Danhausen. You know, it would be cool if a younger talent came out there and maybe got to have a little promo segment with John Cena, you know, get a little kid over, you know, because we know Cena's obviously not wrestling, but it'd be interesting if he got a little kid over and all that good stuff. And John Cena is an ambassador of the WWE, so that is going to be a reason why we see him from time to time, not all the time, but from time to time, and all that good stuff. So I hope he can actually be in the creative room, because Lord knows that show needs help, and John is one of the best promos ever in the business, probably the best promo in the business. So I would hope that he could add a little bit of, as he kind of, if he ever calms down on Hollywood a little bit, I hope he can apply his expertise to that writing room. But anyway, that should be a nice little segment. You know, it'll be good to see John Cena, especially after I've seen. And my man's legit didn't even get to retire for 6 months, and they already brought his ass back. But my man can't just rest for a second. You know, I predict he'll be in the Hall of Fame next year, by the way, because I think they probably weren't going to be in a rush to make him in the Hall of Fame, in a sense of like they probably weren't going to make him immediately in the Hall of Fame. I think 2027 we will see John Cena headline the Hall of Fame, and that will be a legendary all-timer speech, because he is known, again, to be one of the best talkers in the world. You know what I'm saying? In the business, for sure. But I can see a little comedy segment with Danhausen. Lord knows that WWE loves doing their little comedy, so I could see that happening as far as the prediction is concerned. Now, as far as the matches, now it goes Speed, Speed, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory, the Pressure himself, you know, the humble one, Logan Paul, the Pressure, Austin Theory, versus LA Knight and the Usos. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know if I said LA Knight and the Usos. I don't know if I'll shake my prediction on. Like I said, I'm not changing it. I'm just saying if I would change it. I don't think I would change this one. This one, I don't think I would change. I actually might still feel strong about LA Knight and the Usos winning. I can see it playing because of the curse, right? Because the whole thing with Danhausen is, you know, he's cursed Speed, and they've actually been making the curse mean something. It's not just a gimmick. They've actually made it mean something on the show. So I could see the curse, unless he gets uncursed at some point, I could see the curse being a reason why they lose this match. Now, some people could argue, well, maybe the Vision needs a little bit of momentum, especially if there's a potential Braun Breaker appearance in Gunther and Seth Rollins. Maybe they need a little momentum, but I look at it like this. They're already tag team champions. And also, if Speed is the one to take the pinfall, it's all good. You know, the Vision doesn't lose anything. We didn't get pinned. You know, we're still the tag team champions. So they can have that to kind of say. So I think on that one, because I don't really see a world that would make any sense where they would win. I'm trying to figure out how this finish would be for them to win. That's the only thing that's really confusing me at the moment. Especially considering the Vision have gotten the best of them in the build-up, right? Because they won the tag team championships. Speed costed LA Knight his match on Raw. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it would only make sense for LA Knight and the Usos to get the win, considering their tag titles got taken because of Speed, and LA Knight lost to Austin Theory because of Speed. So all of that being because of Speed, I feel like there's no way they don't win, right? So moving on and moving along, as far as the next match that will be on night one, I don't know if I'll have to pull up the list. I thought I'd be able to do some of this off the top of my head, but I actually might for safety concerns, as in to be safe that I don't forget. I'll actually have it pulled up just so I don't miss anything. All right. Now, Jacob and Drew, this match I feel I'm pretty set on. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty set on that happening, being Jacob winning. You know what I'm saying? Did a nice little promo. Came in the cop car on Friday Night SmackDown. Friday Night SmackDown was a roaring, by the way. But nonetheless, Jacob will get the job done. I think this will be a great barn burner of a match. And I think this will probably be the ladder match of Saturday night. Like, you know how there's a ladder match tomorrow night and everybody's like, oh, that's going to be like match of the night because of all the high flyers and people that are willing to do all those big ladder spots in the match. That'll be like pretty much a show stealer. I think the show stealer for them, like as far as this is, I think the only gimmick match on this card. So I think what we think the ladder match is going to be on Sunday. I think the unsanctioned match will be on Saturday, you know what I'm saying, between Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre, because you know those guys hit hard and they are willing to get their hands dirty and get bloody to get a point over. So I think we'll be in for something good on that match. So I will not shake my prediction on that. Like I said, I can't change it anyway, but I'm just kind of talking as if I were able to change it. Would I change it? Yes or no? This is what this video is. But anyway, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria versus Nia Jax and Lash Legend versus the Bellas. I think I'm not shaking my prediction on the Bellas. Even though if it was my preference, I would prefer Bayley and Lyra. But the Bellas have pretty much been winning these championships since they started. And no matter what we feel about the Bellas, you know, some like myself are not the most entertained by them. I'm sure they're good people, but, you know, on TV, I'm not personally the most entertained by them. You know what I'm saying? But you know, we know they've pretty much been one of these tag titles since they've been a thing. And considering the Bellas were a thing before the tag titles, you know, it kind of just makes sense, you know, doing it at WrestleMania and all that. And they have star power as far as they are names, you know what I'm saying? So I can see that being set up for WrestleMania to be that way. Now, judging by the card, unfortunately, this has high potential of being the worst match of the night, even if it ends up being pretty good. Compared to all the other matches, I think this one tonight will not be as fun as all the other matches planned, which brings us to AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I think this match, hopefully it's good. I don't know what they'll do to make it different, because not only is there no stipulation, and we've also seen this match a couple times before. Granted, we've only seen them go one-on-one one time, but nonetheless, we've seen them enough in the ring to kind of need some, you know, a little stipulation or something like that, or something on the line. Like, that's not, I mean, I get technically the championship is on the line, but, you know, maybe something that would give it higher stakes, even if it's not like a no DQ match, maybe something that would have stakes, like, you know, you can't challenge for the championship again. Well, I don't know, like, I don't know, something that on the long, like, something that would have some type of stipulation to it, even if it's not like in a way of a match. Something that's on the line for this match, I think that would give it a little more urgency. I would love to have that somewhere in here, but it is what it is. I'm kind of thinking of changing I'm not going to be able to, but I think if I can, I would change my prediction and make it Becky Lynch, only because I don't really logically, even though, again, my initial review, I was like, Becky Lynch or AJ Lee becoming a multi-time, I'm sorry, Becky Lynch becoming a 3-time Intercontinental Women's Champion doesn't really do anything for anybody. And if a Stephanie Vaquera, somebody like that, loses, that's the only person she would challenge. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm really trying to think of any baby faces that would want to go after Becky Lynch, right? And there's not really any females in that division that would really challenge Becky. But granted, if Rhea Ripley loses and goes back to Raw, that could be something, redoing that match. You know, we haven't seen that since WrestleMania 40, so try to do that. And it would be a different dynamic, right? Because Becky Lynch will be a heel this time and all that, so they could do something like that. I don't know. There's possibilities, though, still. Still haven't done an EO match with Becky Lynch, so technically, now that I think about it, there are some baby faces that could challenge her, but they would just have to be willing to take the girls from the top of the card and kind of move them down to the Women's Intercontinental Championship. So if I was able to, I think I actually would change it to Becky, just because I think her not getting a single win on AJ Lee is crazy. Like, she's already 0-3, and I feel like 0-4 is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I might have some suspicions of her going 0-4. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, if I was able to, I think I actually would change it to Becky. But we get on to Seth versus Gunther. I still think Gunther's going to win this. I wouldn't change it if I was able to. Gunther's still going to win this match. I'm looking at my monitor for wondering why you're looking on this way. Gunther, I think, is still going to win this match, like I said, due to a Braun Breaker interference. That way they fueled that story between Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins, because reportedly they didn't want Braun Breaker to come back too early. Not only because he had just got off of a hernia, but also because they wanted time for their story to build, and they don't want to do a Braun Breaker-Seth match 2 weeks left. Knowing this is supposed to be a more in-depth story, they don't want to just have like 2 weeks left to do it, and so I can understand that. Even though it sucks that my boy Braun Breaker won't be at WrestleMania in a wrestling capacity, I would hope he returns at WrestleMania, because it's a big stage to return to, and cost Seth Rollins this match. That way, Gunther can continue to go on his dominant reign of beating legends. Even though he won't kill the career of Seth Rollins, he'll still be keeping that name up of, like, he's beating legends, even if he don't retire them all, which I think probably should be his new gimmick. Instead of being a career killer, I think it should just be like he's beating all of these veterans and legends. I think he should just go on a tear of doing that, rather than like every match I have to retire somebody. That concept was always going to run dry. You know what I'm saying? So I would not shake my prediction on that. I'm still going Gunther. Stephanie Vaquera versus Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship. One of the most highly anticipated matches on this card. Probably, out of every match on this card, this actually probably is the most highly anticipated match as far as build is concerned. Even though Jacob and Drew did heat up closer to Mania, I think this is probably the best, most anticipated match on this card. That being said, I still have Liv for the win for that. I do think that Stephanie will lose the belt still. Granted, I mean, it can technically go either way, but judging by the fact that I just found out like yesterday that Liv has never won at WrestleMania, which is insane. I just found that out. This gotta be the one she wins, right? Because it makes perfect sense. Like I said in my preview, I keep saying review. That will be tonight. Preview, and like I said in my preview, I did say that Liv Morgan, it's more of a story at hand. Not only has Stephanie held it since WrestlePalooza, so that means she's well over 100 days, but also, actually, how many days would that be, right? Because WrestlePalooza was in what, September? Or was it October? It might have been September. So, yeah, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. Yeah, she's been holding it for over 6 months, 7 months. I think she's at about 7 months. So, she's been holding it for a while. And there's a bigger story I feel to tell with Liv, especially if you want to set up a Liv Raquel match, you know what I'm saying? Maybe Raquel, even no matter if Liv turns face or Raquel turns face or which one turns, however it goes, I think there's some way they're going to set up a Liv Morgan Raquel match where I would think that would be something cool to do at like a SummerSlam, but you never know. But that would be a great weekly television story you can tell through some of her title defenses. I think that'd be good to tell. Now, granted, one has to ask, who does Liv defend the belt against? You know what I'm saying? Like, when she becomes champion, like, who are her challengers? That's an interesting point to bring up there, because it's like, they could do a WrestleMania rematch with Stephanie if they wanted to, but I don't know if they want Liv to beat her twice, so that's the only thing that's kind of up in the air with that. So, I don't know. It would be curious to see who they would have Liv face in this title run. That's the only thing I'm kind of really thinking about that I don't know. But like I said, because like the Raquel thing, I think would be some set up later. That's why I'm like, In the meantime, though, while she has the championship, I don't know who she would defend it against, assuming she would win. I don't really immediately know any challengers. Because going back to the real well again, I don't think enough time has passed to go back to that. And then EO, I mean, maybe you could get something out of that like they've done in the past with Liv and EO, but I don't know. But yeah, nonetheless, I'm not shaking my prediction on that. I got Liv still winning that. Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. I'm not shaking my prediction. I'm actually going to still stay with Randy Orton, mainly because not only did Pat say that he was going to leave the WWE if Randy Orton loses, which kind of lets you know they will probably want to keep him around because they're probably going to set up for like Cody and Jelly Roll and Pat and Randy. They're probably going to do something like that at like a Backlash, which I don't really, I'm actually not against celebrity involvement, but I don't think they need to be in the main event here. It's just pretty much tainted and ruined a lot of people's excitement for the story. Not that the story was the greatest thing ever beforehand, but it still ruined a lot of people's excitement for this, which I understand. It's just probably so. So I would not shake my prediction on this. I still got Randy Orton being the WWE champion, Mr. 15-time himself. You know what I'm saying? Even though that would be like another loss for Cody at WrestleMania, you know, back to back, I get it. But, you know, I just think they're setting up for another match here. And yeah, Cody and Punk, if y'all don't know, had a little glazing segment on SmackDown. Like literally, like two of the worst go-home shows to Mania. You know, Raw, it wasn't a bad promo, but it just was bad timing because they had all this heat and then they all soft to each other and stuff. And I want to be like you. And that was not the best ending. And the same thing here. It was even worse here, you know, with, like I said, on SmackDown was not a good show. But also with, like I said, Punk and Cody just glazing each other, basically saying, hey, we're celebrating our championship reigns tonight because they're going to end this weekend. You know what I'm saying? That's what it felt like if you saw the segment. But anyway, moving on to the ladder match. Penta versus Javon Evans versus Dragon Lee versus Rusev versus Jay McDonough versus Rey Mysterio in a ladder match. Some people think maybe Rey could win this. You know what I'm saying? Maybe to set up something with Dominic. I said in my predictions that it was Penta, but I actually forgot. I meant to actually predict Javon because I wanted to make the bold choice. Two reasons I wanted to predict Javon. So if I could change this, I don't know if I'm able to change this because, like, I meant to actually say Javon because I wanted to make the bold prediction of him becoming, like, the youngest Intercontinental Champion. Although I don't know if all our brothers on this card will win. I know that's kind of probability is not high that all three of our brothers that got called up will win. But, you know, one could dream. One could hope, you know. I actually wanted to make the bold prediction of Javon Evans. For two reasons. One, I wanted to make the bold prediction. On this one, I'm willing to be wrong of Penta retaining, considering he just got the belt. But the second reason I wanted to predict Javon is because when you see these Intercontinental Championship ladder matches, has anyone in the history of these ladder matches, especially for the IC title, anyone in the history of ladder matches at WrestleMania, has anybody ever retained their belt? I don't think anytime they've had any of these like Intercontinental Championship ladder matches, I don't think a single time has anybody retained their championship. Or there's nobody notable that I can remember that actually retained their belt in these multi-person ladder matches. They're kind of designed for you to lose your belt. So I'm kind of up in the air because I'm like, I want to change it to Javon because I actually meant to say Javon in my predictions. So I don't know if I'll allow a change there. I might allow a change there. You know, I'll be willing to be wrong. I'll allow myself to change my prediction to Javon Evans only because I actually meant to say Javon. I just forgot when I turned the camera on. So I'm going to actually change that to Javon. That's the only one I'm actually able to change because I legitimately actually meant to say Javon Evans before the review video started. But I just didn't think of it when the red light was on. I had talked about all the other stuff that made me forget. So I'm actually going to lock in for final and permanent ink and paper, whether I'm right or wrong, Javon Evans. Brock Lesnar, Obafemi, I'm not going to be long, y'all. I mean, Obafemi needs to win this. Brock doesn't get anything from beating Obafemi. Obafemi needs to rule as the ruler that he is over Brock Lesnar. Let's go ahead and build the future. Let's go ahead and make him the next Brock Lesnar as far as the booking, not him like Brock, but booking him like Brock Lesnar, not him being Brock, but like the same booking of like just beating these top guys out the gate, crowning him champion at a SummerSlam or just later this year at some point. I would love to see it. That's one of those rare guys you can actually book him like that out the gate. So yeah, Oba is a must win here. He's the only one that really has a must win situation because all the other ones, it would suck if they went with certain winners, but it wouldn't be like do or die with Oba like it is here. This is gonna ride. All of this rides on, or all this is really holding there's a lot on the line here with Obafemi's like credibility that he's been like when he talked on the mic. This is gonna put his credibility on the line. It's gonna be putting his legitimacy on the line. So hopefully Oba gets the goddamn job done, and you know what I'm saying, going on to sing Oba's praises as he goes down that goddamn WrestleMania ramp, which should be a great entrance and everything. But he needs to get the win over Brock. Trick Williams and Sami Zayn, short and brief here. Trick needs to get the win. Sami doesn't need the belt. Let's go ahead and whoop that Trick at WrestleMania. It'll be a great entrance, and I can't wait to see it tomorrow. Jade and Rhea, I guess it doesn't really matter, but I think Jade having this new faction, like I said before in my predictions, I will remain on Jade. She needs to retain this belt, and Rhea's a dope name to beat to kind of add legitimacy to her title reign, which has needed some legitimacy due to the lack of title defenses, so she needs to get the job done. Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. Yeah, the Demon Balor needs to beat Dominic, because, I mean, if the Demon is losing to Dominic, what the fuck? And last but not least, CM Punk and Roman Reigns. I won't change my prediction on this either. I will stick on Roman Reigns because it's going to benefit more for someone to beat Roman Reigns, especially if it ends up being like a young guy like a Braun Breaker or Obafemi. They're going to benefit more from being Roman than Punk just because Roman's not there a lot. And it's treated and is a way bigger deal because Roman's not there as much. And he doesn't lose. Because he's not there as much, he doesn't really lose as much, right? So it's a bigger deal beating Roman Reigns, and also Roman's lost the last two previous Manias. But anyway, it means more to beat Roman Reigns than to beat CM Punk, only because CM Punk is there so often. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a foreign concept to see him lose as it is with Roman, where it's like that special, rarity of like, oh my God, you beat Roman. I mean, there's only been like, 3 people to beat Roman in the last, 5 or 6 years, right? In like singles competition, right? Cody, Bronson Reed at one point. And Seth, I think, beat him in the main event of WrestleMania. So it's only been like 3 or 4 people to really lose to him. But anyway, I'm locking those predictions in. I got to hurry up and go to the restroom because I ain't going to lie, nature is calling. But anyway, appreciate you guys. End of the day, what I say it is what it is. What's going to be is this Prodigy. I'm going to be posting clips. I don't know if I'll live stream WrestleMania yet. You will just see that by turning post notifications on. But I'll definitely be posting clips all over social media for my live reaction to Mania. See y'all in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe before you go. That's all you need to know. Let's get ready for WrestleMania and have a great WrestleMania season. That's all you need to know, and that's the vibe that DJ's on. See y'all down the road on this road tonight and this weekend to WrestleMania, man.